there's got to be something like bigger and differentiated about what you're saying, why they should care. And you've got to get that across sort of like right when you walk in and engage with them and explain it. Hi everyone, my name's Matt and I'm here to teach you how to pitch. It's really important skill to develop. So how many of you want to invest in me? Right? I mean, literally your energy and how you tell your story are so critical to whether or not you're going to be successful at fundraising. I can't even communicate how essential your energy. Basically, you're walking in, you have 1 hour to talk to someone, or in the case of what you're preparing, 3 minutes to talk to someone and make it believable that, just to give you an idea, in our fund, we have reviewed, I think, 3,000 deals and done 28. So imagine being in that less than 1% of individuals who've come in to pitch us and been successful. And what has the difference been? When we evaluate opportunities, it's very much about the team, the market, and the traction. So I just wanted to be demonstrative about how energy impacts connection, and it's a lot about connection. Because when we're evaluating not just the opportunity, we're evaluating working with you. It's, investing in a company is like, hey, we're gonna be hanging out for this could be going on for 12 years. This could go on 15 years. Do I wanna work with you? Can we help each other? Are we connected? Does that work, right? So I just wanted to make it clear just how important your energy and your storytelling is. So Matt Golden from Golden Venture Partners, we're a seed stage investment fund based here in Toronto. We have a North America focus. We've done 28 deals out of our 2 funds, currently on our second fund, which is $50 million. We take an entrepreneur first approach. Everyone who works at our fund has been an entrepreneur, has been an operator of a business. And we think for early stage in particular, it's really important because then we really can empathize with the entrepreneur journey and also have sort of been through similar challenges and help. We're investors in companies like Wattpad and Yesware and Joist, which are some local companies. Yesware's in Boston, and we have 5 deals in San Francisco. My background, reformed lawyer, keep it on the down low, don't tell anyone. Entrepreneur, Tira Wireless, I co-founded in 2001. And I've been a VC in 3 different funds of varying size, all the way from an incubator fund originally to over $120 million Series A fund to Golden Venture Partners, which is a micro VC fund. We've co-invested with virtually almost all of, not all, but many of the top VCs in North America. And quickly, we're going to talk through context. I think we were just talking about how to keep a VC engaged and attentive. The content we're going to spend a lot of time on. And then just so a few common mistakes, tips and tricks. So capturing a VC's attention. Again, this goes back to storytelling. I won't spend too much time on it, but why now? What's going on? Why all of a sudden? What do I do? What's the big problem? Why am I here? Just sort of nail that. Capture the attention early in the pitch so that they're really listening. And then your job is to retain that attention. But there's got to be something bigger and differentiated about what you're saying, why they should care. And you've got to get that across sort of right when you walk in and engage with them and explain it. I can't tell you what that is. I mean, I could tell you if you each tell me your pitch, but just think about that. Again, it goes back to that human connection. So the building blocks of a pitch, this is probably where we're going to spend the most time, because I think it's this fundamentally, these are the key building blocks that get across a pitch. If your pitch is 30 slides long, it's too long. If it's 20 slides long, it's likely too long. If you're an early stage entrepreneur, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to get your pitch down to like 10 to 15 slides. I'll give you an extra 5, but I think it should be 10. It should be possible to articulate what it is you're going to do and get across all of these key elements. So what's the problem? What's the pain that I'm solving? What's wrong? Like, why do I need to disrupt something? What is that disruptor, right? What's happening? And how am I going to solve it? Those are like the 2 essential building blocks. And I can't tell you how many people just don't really get there. It's like, I'm building this thing, and it's going to be really good, and I think you should invest. I'm like, okay, but what's the problem? Like, what are you solving for? You know, and articulating that can be much more complex than you think. I mean, you kind of, like, a lot of it's instinctual. Like, there's this problem. So I'll give you an example, actually. One of our companies on Friday was on Shark Tank, Brightwheel. And, you know, the way that Dave Vasson, he's the CEO of Brightwheel, it's an early childhood education platform. And yes, they got funded, and, you know, Mark Cuban and Chris Sacca invested, and yes, they ultimately invested. But the way he told his story was just so poignant. And it goes back to it. It was like, you know, I was running Kindle K-12 at Amazon, and then I had a kid, and everything changed for me. Because, you know, this little human being, I'd go to work every day, and I wouldn't be with my child for 8 to 10 hours. And I'd leave them at this daycare, and I had no idea what was happening. And then I'd come home, and I'd say, how was your day? And they'd say, like, you know, good. Like, what's a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old going to say? And so he felt so disconnected that he built a platform for the teachers to engage with the parents and keep them up to date with what happened with their child. And so now when he comes home, he knows that they did arts and crafts, and he's got pictures of it, and they pooed twice and peed, and, you know, so all of a sudden their conversation with their child is so much bigger. Well, how big is that market, right? Like that, so that's a problem. The technology is certainly available today in mobile. And by the way, these daycares and nurseries are struggling to run their businesses, right? And because they're managing the business, the children, and the parents. And they have no technology or infrastructure to do it. That's a pretty good problem to solve, right? And so just to give you a sense, that's a good way of describing a problem. The solution, Brightwheel. We're going to give them a mobile platform that's 3-sided, right? It's going to deal with the parents, the daycares to run their business on, to accept payment, to communicate with the parents, and to allow them to send pictures all day long, and even caregivers can also be on that platform. And so he shows each of those. Wow, okay, that's a good solution. Okay, is that a big market? That's the next question. I would say market sizing is one of those areas that people consistently get wrong. Market sizing exercise is so critical because, you know, before you go and do something, you know, realize that this company, if you do it right, you're going to be doing it for 10, 12 years. And if you get there and you build it and the market size is really small, you'll never get funded. At least not on a venture scale. It doesn't mean, lots of things aren't venture scale. Market sizing will tell you that. And so what you want to do is match what you're doing to the right type of investor. And so it's perfectly fine if it's not venture scale, but market sizing is the thing that will tell you that. And I can't tell you how many people do ineffective market sizing. It's actually quite tricky, and, you know, you can do it top down, you can do it bottoms up. You know, so if you look at the number of daycares and nurseries, and then number of parents and how much they would pay and so on, and you build this huge market model, that gets really big for Dave and Brightwheel. But so many companies fail at market sizing and just sort of say, like, it's really big. It's a really big market. You should invest. But they haven't actually sat down and logically done a market sizing exercise. It's really important. It also makes you look incredibly sophisticated when you understand your market and have done an exercise that is very honest and with yourself, and it excludes things that shouldn't be included and includes everything that should be, and really shows the percentage of the market that's actually available to you rather than the overall market. Go to market, critical. How am I going to get to that market? Is it feasible? Okay, maybe you might be able to change the regulations. Uber has with critical mass. They did yesterday, finally, in Toronto, which is great. But you got to be realistic. You have to understand how you get to that market. And really what you want to be showing is that you have traction, like you've been able to do that, right? Like you actually have proof points around your go-to-market. So, I guess really missing from this would be progress. Like, what have we done to date? What makes it believable? What is our traction? So go-to-market / call it traction. Where are we today? What makes it believable that we are going to be up and to the right? How are we building out our distribution? How are we reaching our market? Financials, unit economics, right? I care more about like the unit economics than your 5-year plan personally as a seed investor. Just if we do this, does it really make sense? Are my margins big enough at the end of the day on a unit basis? If I sell 1 unit, what is my COGS? What is my cost of goods to create that unit? And what is my margin? What is it now and what is it at scale, right? And so if you are able to effectively explain that, it's believable, very, very critical component to a pitch. Financials, yes, but again, 10-year plans, like we're seed investors. Again, we're investing in team, market, and traction. And so it's really about the proof points and the belief that you're going to continue on that path, grow a team, and expand that and scale it impressively. The next is competition, which is another area where people really often do a really poor job. Often people come in with a slide where here's us, here's Apple, here's Google, okay? And they pick selectively across in a column feature sets, and they give themselves check marks. These are the 5 feature sets that we have and Google and Apple don't. And that is our competitive differentiator. Well, talk about stacking the deck, right? I mean, if I get to choose feature sets, yeah, I'm going to choose the ones I have and they don't. But how meaningful is that in the overall market from a competitive standpoint? Most of the time, it doesn't matter. So you're much better off putting them on a sort of a 2x2 or a vector and showing how differentiated you are and finding the right differentiators in your vertical and x-axis. Because then you can sort of take a look at the landscape and figure out really where you fit and whether or not you're truly differentiated from these competitors. And it really visualizes that for investors. And again, a lot of building the pitch deck is about keeping you honest about what you're doing and whether it really does have legs. And finally, but it shouldn't really be last, is team. Because that starts from the second you walk into the room, which was what I was trying to demonstrate right when I walked up on stage. It's the team. How believable is it? Why should we believe that you could do this? What is going to make us believe that you can do this? The believability of the people in the room is a reflection of not just prior experience, although really, really important, not just pedigree, but what have you done that would help us get there and believe that you could do this? How do you present yourself? How do you pitch yourself? This is the same person that's going to be in front of customers and that's going to be getting that traction. So team is a really critical part, but it's almost better to sort of weave it into the story. And finally, I'm just going to go into some common mistakes. One is not knowing your audience. Like, you're coming to pitch a VC, you have no idea who their portfolio is, right? Oh, I didn't know you were an investor in that. Oh, that's great. I'm like, okay, you can take like 2 minutes to go online and see who we've invested in and how that might be relevant to what you do. Lazy questions, right? you ask questions like, who's in your portfolio? Oh, that's online. What's your address? There's another good one. Pitching without passion, I think we covered. Just arriving on time. I mean, all the signals, right? Like, be there, be prepared, be ready to go. Impress, you know? Don't be fake, just be yourself and impress. And discussing exit strategy also, I find, you can discuss it, but it better be like IPO or, you know, we'll sell in 10 years. Not, yeah, so we're going to work on this for a year, and then we're going to sell it for like $10 million. Okay, great. Have a good luck, and have a great time doing it, and we'll be applauding you when you sell it. So I think those are the key components. Those are the common mistakes, and I hope that's helpful for you.